I'm very pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Helena Soholm. Dr. Soholm is a transpersonal psychologist and a Korean shaman. She received her BA in psychology and religion at Smith College and her MA in theology from Harvard Divinity School and another MA in existential phenomenological psychology from Seattle University. She earned her PhD in clinical psychology from Saybrook University in 2018. And her research integrates her academic interests in psychology, contemporary forms of shamanism, and a passion for spirituality and religion. In the same year, namely 2018, she was initiated to be a Mudang, a Korean shaman, thus combining academic and wisdom learning to practice a holistic approach to healing. It's relatively well known that shamanism is the oldest human religious phenomenon and practice, but it's commonly mistaken that it should not be considered to be a form of religion due to its lack of systematized doctrines, texts, and institutions. However, if we broaden the Eurocentric definition of religion, shamanism is hands down the most widespread and popular religion in South Korea that even envelops on this fold major established religions. An increasing number of scholars in Korean religions agree with this new approach to Korean shamanism. So with that in mind, I invited Dr. Soholm initially to my religion and culture in Korea class that I'm currently teaching. But then I thought how wonderful it would be to open the event to the Yale community, as a result of which today's event has been arranged. So today's event consists of two parts. First, Dr. Soholm will give a talk for 45,
okay, I will
45 minutes on a journey into becoming a Mudang and open on the floor for questions for 20 or so minutes. And then she will perform, which is the highlight of today's event, a Korean shamanic ritual called Gut, G-U-T. Through this ritual, Dr. Soholm will demonstrate spiritual possession, a trance state which is usually achieved through dance and music. She'll offer a blessing to the group and deliver messages from her pantheon, consisting of deities from the heavenly realms to ancestral spirits. I'm sure many of you, including myself, are not familiar with this form of ritual, but it is my hope that all of you in this room can participate in or observe this ritual with an open mind, regardless of your religious or non-religious affiliations, and take this opportunity to learn about the rich, vibrant, and transcultural regional dimensions of Korean shamanism. So I would like to thank the council staff, Kathy and In-jung, especially In-jung Kim, where is she? Oh, here she is, for all the logistic help. Even she set up the altar today. I hope you give a special blessing to her. Yes. And I also thank Mark Chung, a student of mine in this class, for helping with the drum. Mark. And Genevieve, who is wearing a very beautiful hanbok, who also helped the setting up. And I would like to also acknowledge and welcome Dr. Helena Soholm's assistant. This is Mike? Great. And so for Q&A, we distributed note cards in front of you. You can actually put down your questions, and toward the end, we're going to collect them, and I'm going to read your questions for the audience. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Helena Soholm.
So thank you, Hwansu, for inviting me to this community. This is truly a blessing. Hwansu and I met, 23 years ago or so, and when we were very young and fresh, and we met at Harvard Divinity School, and we hadn't really kept in touch. But I believe this event and how we got reconnected is a part of the story here. Everyone who's here is not here as an accident. And by the way, we're locking that door so nobody can leave until the ceremony is finished. Okay? Don't tell your parents. So thank you for being here. I'm here to share my story and share sacred space with you. Yes, this is partly a lecture, but this is also, we're opening up a liminal space for the sacred, for the spirits to enter and work through us. So we'll have fun together today, okay? And the title of this talk is Modern Mudang, Healing Through Ancestors, Spirits, and Jung. These are the things that have healed me and which I believe will serve our collective healing on the planet. And it's a modern Mudang because I'm not an ordinary Mudang. I'm not in South Korea. I'm not learning all the ancient traditions. I don't have teachers who are present here teaching me these things. These are simply spirits guiding me to open up new ways of thinking about shamanism. So we're going to start off with the group exercise. And for this exercise, it's a short guided imagery meditation. And what I want you to do is just sit back in your chair, and I will guide you through this exercise. Close your eyes, and we'll go on a little journey together. Imagine you are entering a cave today. This is a cave of the ancestors, a cave well known to all of us in our genetic memory, but you may not have visited this cave recently. You will enter this cave. It is quite dark, but don't worry, nothing to fear in this cave. There are supportive people inside. So as you make your way into the cave, walk gently into the deeper parts of this place. And as you get further in, you notice that there's a fire. This fire has been going since the beginning of time. And as your eyes adjust to the fire and to the darkness, you start seeing that there are many people in this cave with you. These are your ancestors. They have been with you the whole time, but this may be the first time you make contact. Some of them are suffering deeply through trauma. Some of them are in a healthy state, and you may know them. Whoever they are, we will meet them today, and you will get acquainted. The ancestors are the power, the source of our creative energy, and they can help you along in your life. So as a group, we will get to know these ancestors today, and I want you to give them thanks for being there for you so far. And then I want you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just relax. We were going on a journey together. And then we're now going to make our way back out of the cave. Slowly walk towards the daylight you see in front of you. And we will meet outside of the cave, and you may open your eyes. So, I hope you met some of your ancestors. We will get acquainted with them during the ceremony more. But I'd like to start with the story. It's the myth of Tangun in Korean mythology. Tangun is the founder of the first Korean kingdom. And let me tell you about him. He's shown here in this image with the bear and the tiger. And this is a story that you may be familiar with if you're Korean. If not, enjoy. So up in the heavenly realms, there was Prince Hwanang. Hwanang is the son of Hwanin, who is the ruler of the heavens. Hwanang, the prince, being young and once experienced, wants to come down to earth. He receives permission from his father to come down. And there he's met by the tiger and the bear. The tiger and the bear want to become human. And they pray to Hwanang for this to happen. And he says, okay, you want this? You're going to have to work for it. So he tells them, you're going to go into a cave for 100 days, eating only garlic and mugwort. And they said, okay, we can do this. Fighting, the Korean way of cheering each other on. They go in, 20 days in, tiger's like, forget this. I can't do this anymore. I'm hungry. This is not for me. And runs out of the cave. But the bear stays in the cave and continues. But on the 21st day, the bear is granted her wish. Hwanang saw her heart and made her into a human woman, as you see on the right. This story continues with the bear woman who is called Ungnya. She is the mother of Tangun and the mother of the Korean nation. So in the story, we learn that the heavens and the earth come together in the meeting, and this is mimicked as a symbolic gesture in ceremonies in the Korean shamanic tradition. So we have the meeting of heaven and earth, and the shaman as the intermediary between those two realms, to go between. And in the instruments that we will see today, you see that also with the gong, which is called jing, representing the heavens, and the drum, earthly energy, coming together. And also, what I've observed is that most Korean shamans are women. There are a few men, but I heard that the spirits prefer women. And in the ceremonies, you will usually see, remember South Korea and Korea is a very patriarchal culture. The women are in the center leading the ceremonies. And the men are usually on the sidelines playing the drums and the ting. So there's a balancing of energies on multiple levels. So in my life, I've been affected by some of these writers, and my ideas have come forth in some of the ideas presented in these books. These are just samples. The first two books I was introduced to, and these authors I was taught about at Harvard Divinity School when I was in my early 20s. The seeds for what I've been developing over the last 20 years or so have started there. There was a professor there who introduced me to the academic study of shamanism. Victor Turner is an anthropologist. Mircea Eliade, historian of religions. And then the third book is by a father-daughter psychiatrist duo, Frank and Frank, which talks about the systems of psychotherapy. But they have a very nice chapter on the magical religious traditions in psychotherapy and healing. So what are the things that are needed in a healing space? There's a huge placebo effect that happens too. You have an expectation when you go into a ceremonial setting that somebody you trust, hopefully, is leading you to open up in a way to your trauma and to your suffering and help you process those feelings. So these are things that human beings have been engaged in forever. But now we don't engage in so much ceremony. Think about, let's see a raise of hands for when was the last time you were in a spiritual ceremony setting where you moved your body and there was music, there was dancing, and there was a circle that supported you. When was the last time? Okay, let's say within the last year, has anyone experienced this? Very good. Last 2 years? 5? 10? Within your lifetime. Can you raise your hand if you've experienced this? So that's only a small fraction of the room. But human beings in all earth-based cultures, earth-based practices, have engaged in community healing. So no wonder we become sick in many different ways, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. So that's why we're going to do the demonstration today, so you get a taste of what it was like for our ancestors to sit in circle together and be supported by the community for healing and problem solve together. So the bear story is very important. The bear, as a symbol, is the womb of the Korean society. She is in a cave, womb-like place, where she's transformed herself into a woman, becoming a goddess of some sort. And in Korean culture, which was agricultural culture, where shamanism developed further, we have the tools that are used in the ceremony that are farm-based tools. Some of the Mudang stand on knife's edges when the cutter general comes. And those utensils are all from farming culture. Okay? And the bear herself, of course, being the symbol of the earth that produces food and bounty for the people. So I believe the story of Tangun and Unyo is a heroine's journey. And the shaman follows this heroine's journey in the 3 stages of suffering spirit illness, which is called Shinbyung. And then she must experience the initiation, which is called Nerimgut. And then the training that comes after. So in the development of the Mudang, there are spiritual and physical symptoms. A lot of Korean Mudang will report having odd sensations, odd health issues that are not related to an actual biological issue. Okay? And they're only healed from this ailment when they become a Mudang through an initiation. I have a slightly different perspective on this, which is psychological. Because if you look at the narratives of the Western Korean Americans or Western shamans, they suffer less Shinbyung than their Korean counterparts. And you start wondering, what are the cultural factors that play into this? Because in Korean society, and this may be also within East Asian society, they have a tendency to express their emotional health through their physical health. So they might report more bodily aches or pains rather than speaking of their emotional issues. This is something that's within the culture. And there's a huge stigma of Mudang in Korea. And there are reasons for that. When the practices became feminized, when the women took over the practices, it was denigrated. And then also the multiple colonizations that happened on the peninsula didn't help. However, the modern Mudang have become very materialistic, and they evolved with capitalism. In Korea, there are about anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 Mudang who are registered. And we don't have an exact figure, but there are many. And many of them charge between $10,000 to $40,000 for a ceremony. So people believe that they're being manipulated by them, you know. So there's multiple reasons why they may not be integrated into secular Korean society, although many people still utilize them. So that's the paradox of Korean shamanism. So you have a culture that doesn't respect the Mudang in an overt way, and someone becomes ill and called by the spirits, it's going to create a conflict psychologically. You don't want to become this. You don't want to become the thing that people don't like. I think this causes conflict, which causes physiological symptoms. So for the sake of time, I'm going to whiz by the definitions. Hwan-Soo in the introduction already covered the definition of shamanism. Okay? And then basically, shamans have been the people who have an innate gift to alter their consciousness, to gain information from the other realms, and to use for the good of their communities. This is very important. Shamans can, at will, go into a trance state. This is different than people who may be suffering from illnesses where they go into those states involuntarily. So in order to be a shaman, you have to be able to do it at will, voluntarily, and that's through training and proper guidance. Korean shamanism is called Muism, and it goes back to the prehistoric times. There are similarities between Mongolian, Siberian shamanism and Korean shamanism. It might have come from those areas. The cosmology is also very similar. During the Three Kingdoms period, the shaman was actually an official rule that a lot of the male kings or priests or officials held these positions rather than women. And then later, it became a more in the realm of the women. And there's been a systematic suppression and persecution of shamans. Of course, during the colonization by Japan, if you're going to suppress the energy of a people, you get rid of their spiritual practices, their power source. And then also through Christian missionaries coming into the peninsula, there's been a demonization of shamanism, which is something I experienced firsthand, and I will share more of that as I share my story. I grew up in a very Protestant Christian home, and actually when I went to divinity school, I was considering a path to becoming a minister. The Korean American community really wanted me to serve them and bring young people back to the church. In a way, I am doing the same role, just within a different tradition or different way. I don't think they see it that way. Okay. I covered that there's a social stigma within Korean society. This is quite severe. I'm fourth generation Christian on my mother's side. And my mother, who passed away in 2020, until the day she passed, did not accept my path. And in fact, her worst fear for me is that I would become a Mudang, because she herself was gifted with these abilities, but she suppressed it all of her life. And then the spirits kind of just see who's the next in line. So it was within my family, but I didn't know about it until later. So, the shamanic initiatory dreams were very interesting. Ever since I was young, I dreamt. I dreamt mystical dreams of spirits, other worlds, and it was something that connected me to my family and my culture. Because in Korean culture, often in the morning when you wake up, as a family, you might share dreams. Because if you dreamt of an ancestor or such, it's it could be important information. So it's very shamanistic in nature. And even in the Christian churches, dreams are honored because it's within the tradition. And Korean Christian churches usually tends to be a bit more charismatic in nature than other churches. So I dreamt of Ongyo. I didn't know it was Ongyo when I dreamt it, but the dream was I saw a bear, usually a black bear, in my home. And then the bear turns into a woman, and she comes out transformed from the bear, and then she left my house. I dreamt this a couple times. I had no idea who this was. But these dreams, if you know about Jung, see, we're connected at the unconscious level to the collective unconscious. Even though I don't know my ancestors way back, I'm connected through them, and it sits in my unconscious state. And the Ongyo showed up in my dreams as a symbol. I had to learn about it. And that's the case with many things within Korean shamanism and also Buddhism. I didn't grow up with it. I didn't study it. I had to learn about it. That's me in the center with my mother on my right. On my left, and then my grandmother on my right. So my grandmother is the one who was Christian, and she converted my grandfather. So my grandfather was from North Korea during the war. He left his first wife, took his oldest son, and they ran away from the communists, which they were thinking will be only a few days. And then the borders were, the lines were drawn, and they couldn't return. And this is one story of many, many families who suffered the same fate. Well, this grandfather, I hear, is the product of deep prayers to the Chilsung god, which is the 7 stars, the Big Dipper god, which is a big figure in Korean cosmology. And I hear my great-grandmother had a huge home shrine where she worshipped the Chilsung. This is a big deal, and he was a product of the prayers from that. And when he met my grandmother in the South, who is the second wife, and then they had many, many children together afterwards, well, he became a Christian man, and he suffered all throughout his life from the trauma of the war and losing his first family. I have been recovering the stories through the spirit work. One of the dreams I had initially within the last decade is I was going to Korea in the dream, and I went shopping with my family for a white hanbok, just like this one that I'm wearing. And the only white hanbok that I know about within the culture is a death ritual. So when I woke up from that dream, I thought, somebody passing away, I didn't like it. Only later did I realize that I was shopping for my own hanbok to become a Mudang. So I had no idea. And when I got my hanbok in Korea before the initiation, I thought, okay, this is what's happening. And then that grandmother started showing up in my dreams. And one of the dreams that she gave me, out of the many dreams, was that she actually went to the home of a Mudang who will initiate me. This is actually common. I have seen other stories where the initiate doesn't even know the existence of the spirit mother, and the ancestors will point out to each person who you will work with. They're very concrete. It's not just symbolic. And also, before the initiation ceremony, she appeared, and I asked her, "Halmoni, I'm very worried. My family is very Christian, and they're not going to like this very much. Am I going to lose all my family?" And she said, "Don't worry, it'll be okay." I'm not sure that it's exactly that grandmother. However, I think my unconscious used that grandmother to symbolize all the ancestors behind me. These are ancestors I don't know anything about, but because I don't know what they look like, they might have imposed my grandmother that I am aware of to note that this is a maternal line. So my mother passed away, like I said, in 2020, suddenly from a stroke. And now I'm working with her and grandma almost daily on the other side. Why do I care about this as a therapist? A lot of my work is doing individual therapy work. So why do I care? Well, we now are speaking about ancestral trauma, intergenerational trauma. We all hold it. There's not a single human here in this room who doesn't have ancestral trauma. And you may be the first person in your families to do active healing work to break the cycles that have been happening in your families forever. And these are just sampling of what's out there. The first image is of a Turkish show on Netflix called Another Self. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's very good. And they mentioned this book in the series, which talks about intergenerational trauma and how you can break those cycles. So we're living in a time where healing is readily available. In my tradition, they may not actively talk about psychological healing. However, the Korean tradition is all about how to live a good life. And as people become more modern, Western in their thinking, they are heading this way too. Okay, so in the Korean tradition, there are 2 types of Mudang. The first type is Gangshinmu, which is the one I am. You receive the spirits and you get possessed by them and they speak through you. The second type, Sesemu, they do not get possession of spirits, but they're more like priests who act as the head of their families. It's usually a lineage or a family that works together to do ceremonies, but they don't get possessed by them. So I won't go into detail on this one, but the differences are that the possession spirits, Mudang, are more in the northern and central regions of the country, and then the priestly role, lineage holders, are in the southern areas. There's some theories that the spirit possession Mudang in the north is because of the harsh terrain and the continuous attacks from other countries, whereas in the south, people were able to create more stable societies, and they were able to develop the rituals that can be in a calmer fashion. So I'll show you a video of the two different types, and you can see the movement and the music. They're very distinct, very different. The possession shaman music is loud, which is going to happen here in just a little bit. And then the other type is softer, kind of gentler music. So you'll see the difference in that. So here we are. This is a little clip about the first type of shamans.
This is another good ritual. This is a nerimgut, where interaction with a god is passed on. The god personally chooses his next representative shaman.
저는 솔직히 학교 다니고 집에서 살림하고 뭐 그것밖에 해본 적이 없기 때문에 저는 굿도 오늘 어제 처음 봤어요. 굿이라는 거 자체를 본 적도 없고요. 도대체 이것이 무엇인지 무슨 어떻게 해야 되는지 너무너무 막막했고 걱정을 굉장히 많이 했어요.
Her mother shaman must call the god to possess her. Through the mother shaman, the new shaman becomes possessed, and they are forever bound as mother and daughter. Everything is considered the will of the god.
선택할 수는 없죠.
왜요?
왜 그러냐? 내가 이 신명을 받고 싶지 않아서 안 받는 거 아니고 받고 싶다 해서 받는 게 아니에요. 내 사주고 내 신이 저 집에서 들어올 수 있는 사람은 이 길을 가요.
The mother shaman wears red for the Nerinkut ritual. This is because red is the color that represents interaction with the gods. After the god is invoked, the last color to be worn is blue. Blue symbolizes luck, and it is worn to bless the future of the daughter shaman. Yellow, symbolizing rebirth. And black, representing the wisdom to properly understand and use the message of the god, are also included. Man, the world, and gods are united through the 5 colors. Koreans believe the message is delivered through these colors. Finally, the daughter shaman is possessed by the god invoked by the mother shaman. Unlike the mother shaman, who wore all of the 5 colors, the daughter shaman wears only white. White symbolizes cleansing and purity. In this ritual, it means the daughter shaman will empty herself and be reborn as a messenger of the god. The god finally enters her, and she cannot control herself. Her body is not under her control.
손이 쥐가 나는 것처럼 쥐가 아주 심하게 나서 찌릿찌릿하다 그래야 되나?
People say this is when the shaman first hears the voice of the god. One does not choose to become a messenger for the heavens. Everything is decided and chosen by the god. Man simply accepts his destiny.
다리가 아파서 한 2달을 못 걸었는데 병원을 아무리 다녀도 답이 안 나왔어요. 아무 이상이 없다 그러니까. 근데 나는 아프고 못 걷겠으니까.
She has accepted the god. Her life will now completely change, becoming nothing like her past.
Okay, so I hope you saw that when she was speaking about, I used to be just going to school, family life, she really emphasized that she's a normal human being. Because in Korean culture, people who are Mudang are weird, okay? They're weird and you shouldn't associate with them. She's dissociating herself from that world. She wanted to emphasize yesterday was the first time I ever saw a ceremony. So that's the stigma. And she talked about her 신병, how she had paralysis, which is actually a very common symptom. The next clip is about the hereditary shamans. It's a slightly different feel. as you saw, very different, right? She's actually a very famous shaman in that tradition. So if there's no female heir to continue the lineage, a man will marry a woman, and the woman married into the lineage will become the main shaman. So it's still female-centered in that way, or you can be born into it as a woman. So I'm going to show you some slides from my own nerimgut, which happened in 2018, and it was the day that Harry and Meghan got married also. Not saying there's a synchronicity there, but auspicious day indeed. So the nerimgut is like a wedding between the Mudang and the spirits. And before I had the ceremony, I went to the sacred mountains. This is Ingwansan in Seoul, right in the middle of the city. And if you go in the middle of the night, you will see shamans there. And the energy indeed is very odd. If you ever go to Korea, you should visit. And if you go early morning or in the night, you will see shamans there praying. And of course, Buddhism, because they evolved with Korean shamanism, a lot of the motifs are Buddhist. And you see on my fan that Buddha is at the center of it. So Korea being very capitalistic, there's a whole industry of Korean shamanism, and as a shaman, you rent a whole package deal for a ceremony. In the mountains, they have gutdang, which are like gut rooms that you rent, and the facility will prepare all your foods, the altar items. You just have to show up with your musicians, and this is one of those places at a mountain. And this is an altar set up on the outside of the room, of the main ceremony room. Whenever you set up an altar to do a ceremony, there will be hungry ghosts roaming. And they don't get to feed from the main altar, so you get a side altar for those spirits. And then this is the main altar. Lots of food. The facility will also cook the food for you. And there's a pig, usually that's used. Sometimes an entire pig is sometimes offered. Very valuable item. So at the beginning of the ceremony, so for months before leading up to the ceremony, I was dreaming of all sorts of spirits that needed passing on. And it wasn't pleasant at times, scary, nightmares many times. And my husband can speak to this. I used to just start laughing in my dream state often. I haven't done it since the nerimgut. But as soon as the drummer started playing the music, I spontaneously started laughing. I could not control myself. So me having this scientific mind that's been trained to do research, me having these odd experiences, I've been trained in phenomenology. So I sat with these experiences, sometimes calmly, sometimes not so calmly. But as the activation started and I'm laughing, I could not control myself. And then one of the sister shamans came over, and you'll see the fabric on the corner there, came and ripped the fabric over my head, and instantly it stopped. I was so shocked. That's how the ceremony began. So you become very porous, and something just slipped right in, took an opportunity. So that's how it started. And the ceremony was all day. I think it was between 8 to 10 hours. Started early. And there are various stages, like they have to clear my ancestors so that I become a clean vessel in which the more higher vibrational spirits can enter through me. It was really hard. Remember, I have this mind, this rational mind, and I was told to jump up and down for hours on end, and it was very difficult. And there were moments in the ceremony where I thought, okay, I should just go home now. We just stop right here. You know, I have a good life, I have a good husband, I have a good job, my practice is going well. I can do without this. There were thoughts like that going through my mind the first few hours, but I also don't like to give up. So I kept going, but it was really hard to generate any kind of energy. And then, by the way, we use a lot of cash in the ceremonies. It's very materialistic. You offer money to the spirits that come through, quite a bit of money actually. And this was a shaman part of the ceremony. And then the energy did hit. The main spirit that brought everybody along that day was a warrior spirit, and he loved the swords. And when it hit, it was just an indescribable feeling of energy coursing through my body. I was jumping up and down all day long, yet some energy hit, and I felt like I could go forever. I had so much strength within me. And the warrior was the one, they said, that brought rest of the pantheon along. So I received him first, and I had experiences of him during the months leading up to this. Whenever I would sit to meditate, I would feel a strong male presence coming into my body. I could feel my jawbone shift. I felt much bigger than I am actually. And I recently learned about this ancestor. I'll tell you the story, even though it may take a little time, because I'm learning as I go along. So last year, I went to Korea for a few weeks, and I stayed with my uncle. This is the first child born out of my grandparents' relationship. So he has some of the history. And when I asked him more about our history through the maternal line, so his father, he told me that we have an ancestor way back who was like a warrior, violent, so saw a lot of blood, they called it. And the shrine, part of the shrine that my great-grandmother kept was to cleanse the ancestral line of all the bloodshed. So I hear about this, let's say a few days before the meeting of this shaman. Meeting a famous shaman, a few days later, I go over to her home and to her shrine, and she knows nothing about my history. First meeting, she says, I had a dream this morning. I usually don't take naps in the morning, but I did, and I had a dream, and I'm just going to share with you. I think it's about you. She says that she saw like a middle-aged, youngish man in her dream who had blood dripping from his hands everywhere. And he pointed out that he was very hungry. In the dream, she fed him food, and he ate. So I'm hearing this within a few days of those two stories. I'm thinking, okay, this may be the warrior that came to me. And I think part of the process was for me to heal this ancestor. But I believe that we all have to do this, not just the shamans. We have ancestors we don't know about who are in need. And as we clear them of their karma, and as their healing takes place, we also heal. I believe this is very important. At the end of the ceremonies, they burn everything, okay, to purify. And then I'll share with you one more thing. So after the initiation, I come home, I'm totally blissed out. My energy is just, I'm like floating around. I would just turn on music and start dancing, unusual behavior that I didn't engage in before. And I just love being in that state. And a dream that I had when I came home was kind of a dream, kind of a vision. I saw the Buddha on one side and Kuan Yin on the other side. And then in between them, a curtain cascading ancient Chinese lettering, Chinese writing that I didn't know. I believe it was some type of a sutra, but it showed me that this was now a part of me. And whenever I would sit in front of my altar, meditating or praying, I would start chanting Om out of some place that I didn't know about. It was some spirit that took over. So Buddhism came to me this way, not because I studied it or I was raised with it, and I'm very ignorant of the tradition. I have so much to learn, but this is how the ancestors have come to me. And this costume that I am pointing to right here, this is the first costume I'll be wearing in the ceremony, associated with an ancestor who worshipped the Buddha. So that's the first starting point for our ceremony. Maybe several of you are Buddhists practicing. or maybe you're just interested academically. But these are the things that have happened since my initiation. And now I work globally. I like to help people connect to their ancestries. So I'm not just about promoting or teaching Korean shamanism. It's a part of all of us. And shamanism is growing fast. Just read an article that in the UK, shamanism is the fastest growing religion. Technically not a religion, but a spiritual path. So many Europeans are also connecting to their pagan roots. And I work with shamanic practitioners in Europe. And this April, we're going on to South Korea on a pilgrimage with Korean diaspora who want to connect to their spiritual traditions again and doing ceremony at Gyeongsan, which is a sacred mountain in Korea. So that's kind of my work. This is the end of my formal presentation. I know I might have gone longer than you asked me, but there it is. So thank you for listening.
Questions?
Yes.
Oh, I think you're supposed to write it down, right?
Oh, did we get a stack?
Okay. I don't want to do everything. Kelly, Steven, you guys can read the questions. Don't sure.
So the question is, what happens to the money utilized in ceremonies for the ancestors?
So this is in Korea? Or are we talking about the traditional Korean shamanism in Korea? Oh, you didn't write the question, so you don't know. Okay, I'll answer for Korea. It's capitalism. It's a business. Most Mudang have their own personal business, and there are very famous shamans who are very wealthy. This is an issue that comes up over and over again. Some people in the spiritual circles that I am a part of believe that no money should be exchanged in a spiritual tradition. It doesn't make sense in today's world, in my opinion. Yes, in a tribal setting where the shamans were taken care of and fed, absolutely. In today's world, I think it's inevitable. However, in the extreme form, like I talked about with the dollar amounts that I mentioned before, I don't know. Should that be a part of a spiritual work? It's questionable. I'm not going to judge anyone. I'm just asking you. So yes, it's a business and they're earning money through the ceremonies.
This question asks, is there a specific house or lineage?
Specific
House or lineage? And there's something else, but I'm not really sure what that means. Yes, if you want to clarify your question. Any of the questions, maybe the first one, yeah.
So aside from the difference between the ecstatics and the hereditary belonging, is there a particular house or lineage you belong to?
Me,
I guess,
personally,
for
for anyone. Yes, but not strictly. There's the styles of good ceremony that we have, different kinds, depending on the region. Some people stay with their spirit mothers, but only for the training. So the Mudang, they work organically and develop their own, and that's the non-institutional part of shamanism as practiced in Korea. It's very kind of up to the individual practitioner. There's no dogma dictating how you should do things other than the rituals that go with a certain region. But in that hereditary shaman you watched, yes, that is a family and that is a lineage. So more of the hereditary shamans will have that strong lineage because it's passed down from family to family members. Okay?
Does a certain shin own your head, I guess, in Mudang or not?
On my head?
Like, is there a particular patron that I guess claims you first, or you have to
Yes.
work with all? Okay.
In the spirit possession shamans, there's a word called momchu. That's your spirit that comes to you. Mine was the warrior spirit who arrived first, and you gain more. So it's a whole pantheon. But there are a few that you worship as your main spirits. And by the way, these spirit possession shamans are the ones who keep a personal shrine in their home, an altar, to honor those because they are now a part of you. The hereditary shamans do not keep a personal shrine in their home. It is outside. And when they do ceremony, they create a portal, in a sense, where the gods can descend from. Whereas in my case, the spirits are wherever I am.
Is there, I guess, the idea of a cool shunan or hot big one head, or not really? Like,
I'm not
you have
sure.
to cool your head? Or
Maybe,
okay.
maybe with some shamans, but I'm not sure that I experienced it in that way.
Got it. Final question. How do the hereditary Mudang usually have to go based on the family deity, or how do they know, let's say time has passed, how would the hereditary Mudang know as opposed to an ecstatic Mudang, let's say?
If they were not part of the family?
Yep. If there was a separation, and who knows?
It's a good question. I'm not sure that I can answer that. I'm not sure of that. Thank you.
Those are the two questions. Yeah.
That was it? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, there's... Yep. Wait, he's bringing the mic.
Hi, thank you very much for the talk. That's been fascinating.
Yes.
So, when people come to you for a gut, is there like generally like what kinds of categories they fall in? Are there any
Sure.
categories, and what are they?
So I will answer in terms of the Korean Mudang who are working, because I don't work in the same kind of way. In Korea, or I guess some more traditional Mudang in the US or in other parts of the world, usually it's about how to have a good life. They may have issues of job, career, love and relationship, money. These are all the things that humans think about. It's very much about living a good, decent life. In my case, I'm focused on healing. So I'm less concerned about how to make you money or make you famous. I'm more concerned about your soul, and that's my mission. So I only work with clients who want to do mentorship. So I don't take on a lot of clients who just want good things and good luck and blessing. Because I believe that we make our luck. It's a dynamic. The more healed you are, the more whole you are, your life will be peaceful. So I'm going to teach you all the techniques I've learned over the years of how to have a calm, beautiful life. Because I believe that, yes, you may have some negativity surrounding your energy, or maybe an ancestor who is in need of help. If I, as a Mudang, only clear that, but you do nothing else in your life, you will attract the same negativity again. That's what I see in the difference in the modern man's thinking and psychological state versus a tribal state of mind. That it's not external to you, it is within you. So I believe a lot of people think that way nowadays. It's the psychological piece I bring. So I only take on clients who want to actually do the work of healing, and then I teach them the skills of how to engage in ritual, because I think that's more powerful than me doing one-time ceremony for you. Does that answer your question?
Yes. But then a follow-up question is, so then how is your practice to a certain degree different from therapy?
It is different. In therapy, we can talk about anything. I take on clients who are interested, obviously, in spirituality in all forms. However, I don't do any rituals or teach rituals to therapy clients. That's the boundary I have within the two practices. But in the shamanic practice, we do ceremonies together. I teach the client how to do rituals in their personal life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to us. This is really fascinating. I'm curious about how like the Korean state recognizes, and like other states, I guess, as shamanism spreads globally, recognizes like shamans. Obviously, like you explained that there's a variety of kind of physiological responses, and like in possession, there's like I think interesting questions about like culpability of actions. So how has like the state responded to this? Does the state recognize like the cultural significance of shamanism similar to other religions like Buddhism, or is it different because of kind of the like social stigma behind it?
Absolutely. A very famous manshin. Manshin is another term for shamans, more advanced elder shamans. There was a very famous manshin who passed away a few years ago, Kim Kumhwa. You might have heard of her. She was an intangible cultural asset, and they all have numbers. She's is an asset because the government recognizes the cultural traditions that are distinctly Korean. So many people at the government levels or many official people recognize shamanism as a cultural heritage. So they honor that piece because our culture is embedded into the shamanistic traditions. But I'll just give you examples from my Korean family back in Korea. They don't understand. They actually are very confused that I'm this normal human being who has a professional identity. And my mother's heartache of all time was that, she was an immigrant, she was a single mother, she was a seamstress all her life, worked hard to raise her children, myself and my brother, and then you're gonna give up all that because I had supposedly gone on to all these good schools and gained the professional status, and then you fell right down to become a Mudang. Why would you throw away everything? Why would you throw away all the power you have to become a lowly Mudang, right? So at the personal level, still there's no respect. And my family is utterly confused why such a sane person as myself would do this work. And that's my mission, that yes, normal human beings engage in the spirit world and can speak about this in a scholarly academic way, and that we can help people heal in that way. So yes, there's a government recognition, absolutely, because of the rich traditions. Everyday practice is still stigmatized. Yes? Oh, I think you need this thing.
Thank you so much for coming here and sharing with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, your experience and your history. I was just curious about how far back it's possible to trace back the lineage of Korean shamanism, devoid and stripped of influence from Buddhism and Confucianism, or if it can even be traced back that far.
I think it could be. I just don't have the knowledge academically. Prehistoric Korea. I think it goes way back to when whoever came to Korea to populate it. So I'm not sure of the archeological evidence suggests prehistoric times, but I haven't studied this topic enough to give you a very detailed answer.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious because the Korean shamanism is obviously a very unique component of Korean culture. But at the same time, I wonder if you can categorize it as a indigenous practice because of the influence from outside cultures like China and India and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the indigenous spirituality of Korea, and it has similarities to other shamanic traditions all around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll do the last question and then we'll get on to our
As a member of the Korean diaspora, or how have you adapted, I guess, to your new surroundings? Like, do you have to work with new spirits when you're in America, whatnot? And the second question, how have you seen the newer generations of Mudang from Gen Z and millennials, I guess, evolving this practice, you could say, whether on social media or their other expressions?
Absolutely. There are several other Korean diaspora, second generation, I believe, all of us, who have gone on this path. Some have officially received Neringgut, some have not, but there's definitely a revival and an interest of stepping away from institutionalized religions. I believe the spirits are calling people. And whether you want to listen and go through the heroine's journey, like I called it, it's really up to the individual. But there are several other people working. When I became initiated, I told a reporter actually who was present at my knitting gut that, oh no, I'm not gonna do gut. That was my answer, and you can go read on it. It's on my website. I said, no, I'm gonna continue working with people in my practice, in my therapy practice, and help them. And then I started doing gut. I don't even know how I started. I just started doing it, and it made sense. And every time I would go to a new location, so this is a excellent example of how I'm working with the tradition, but in a different way, in a modern way. Whenever I go to a place to do gut, I don't have traditionally trained Korean musicians who can accompany me. There aren't that many that I can find in America. So whenever I go somewhere, I just hire musicians who can improvise. And Greg works with me in the Seattle area, and I've worked with other people in Bosnia, Northern Ireland, and also in the Seattle area when I did ceremonies there. And we just go along with the spirit. And the spirits work with the musicians as well. So those are the things that are changing, and I'm continually reviving.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 15 minutes remaining, so
Okay.
we need to quickly turn to our
Yes.
event. Could you just briefly give us the...
Yes, so we'll take 1 minute break. No, 2 minutes, you can go to the restroom. But we're gonna really lock the door afterwards. What I want you to do is, I want you to participate in the ceremony and experience this with me. This is my gift to you, to have a ceremony for those of you who have never experienced it, and those of you who've only experienced it over the last couple of years. So everybody get comfortable in this middle space. We're gonna squeeze in here, okay? And I will be going, changing into different costumes, bringing in different spirits. I will be going around the room. There will be music. You're welcome to jump with me. You'll get good exercise today. Build up an appetite for dinner, right? And you can dance with me. You can do whatever you want, really, okay? To free yourself a bit. And then I may come around and tap on some of you for messages from the spirit world. So don't be frightened. I won't embarrass you. So that's what's gonna happen. So we'll take a very short break and come back into the circle. As a group, we're gonna bow to the altar 3 times together to pray to our ancestors together, to honor them and recognize them. So you can follow me 3 times. Jump, jump. The first message is we're going to open up all these spaces. I know I didn't ask for permission to touch you, but we're going to open our hearts as it is locked away. Locked. 아이고. 아이고. We're going to open those hearts. That's where your creative power lies. Both of you, you have ancestors with so much heartache. There's family stuff. Oh, what are your names? Start with
Nayo.
Nayo? Okay. Oh, your ancestors see you. There's a grandma who's crying for the family. Do you know who this grandma is? There's a grandmother who's really crying for the family. She's doing that. 아이고, 우리 자손들. 아이고. Are you a student here? No? Okay, where are you coming from?
Not from Yale.
Who are you?
I'm an artist.
Okay. Okay, you're gonna do good works. But you need to access the ancestors. Are you in touch? Okay. I will teach you if you contact me. There's a grandma really reaching out. She can help with your work. She's an old style, like old style Korean grandma. She's like, 아이고, she's proud but also heartache. Okay, there's family heartache. Okay, so you're gonna jump with me a lot today to release all the trauma. Okay? And then who are you?
Yanni.
Are you a student here?
Yeah.
Okay, there's family stuff here too. Those two just gravitated towards. Do you know anything about your heritage, ancestors, any of that?
Other than I'm Chinese.
Okay, are your parents immigrants or okay, so are you connected to the culture?
Kind of.
Yes, we need to do that work. Okay, we need to do that work. Okay, with a lot of traditional people, when there's some ancestral worship that's been done, the children are in a little bit slightly better state than Westerners who are completely cut off. So they could be closer like this one. Okay, but you too, you need to get connected. Okay, keep jumping. Before I came here, Genevieve here made contact with me. She showed up in my dreams. She has actually spiritual gifts. She's aware of it. I'm so distracted by spirits here. Okay, I want you to do something for me. I'm going to carry this on your left hand, and I want you to jump with me. Okay? Did you feel that? Okay. You want to tell us what you felt? No? Share, please. This is a safe circle. What did you feel?
My grandmother.
Korean side. Yeah, she's so strong. You're already working with your spirits, so don't be afraid. They're already there. What are you going to fear when they're already there? That's what I'm saying. They're already present. Just because you go, oh, I don't want to see you, that they disappear? No, they're right here. And she's like, she came in my dream, came and visited me in my home, which is where my shrine is, okay? So we're all connected, and it's time to take this off because I get too darn hot. And they can't function. So, Genevieve, you can work with this. You can work with your grandmother. Can you tell them what you do? I know you do important work for the military.
I advocate for women veterans and for veterans in general. My brothers and sisters who are dealing with suicide.
Yes, this is very important. We may be connected. So I'm going to be doing a ceremony at one of the U.S. American bases in Korea in April. As part of my group's work to heal the lands where war took place. I have friends who come from Bosnia and Northern Ireland. Spirit connected us 3 women. We're called the three-legged crow. And you'll see the three-legged crow on my yellow costume. So I've always been connected to military personnel or military places. So you're doing very important work. I know that you know that already, but I just want you to remember that you're being supported and that you have shamanic powers through your ancestors. Doesn't mean that you have to become a Mudang. Not everybody has to become a Mudang, but you all have ancestors, and this is how it's expressed in Genevieve and her lineage. Okay, so jump with me to support Genevieve and her work and the important work she's doing. So let's jump together. Hi. Feeling afraid, okay? You just stay right up here with me the whole time. Okay, we're gonna have a costume change. Keep playing the music a little bit. So, are you warmed up yet? Okay, they're here. And I'll get to everybody. You just wait. So this is the three-legged crow. It's a mythological animal seen in East Asian cosmology. Okay? And this costume is for a 할머니, grandmother called 대신 할머니, usually the divination 할머니. And she comes with little baby spirits, children spirits called 동자 and 동녀. And guess what little children like? Candy. And guess what? There's candy here. I'm gonna throw some candy at you. Everybody take a moment. Actually pick one. We're gonna all take a moment to eat some candy. Just take a bite if you're on no sugar diet or something. Just take a little bitty bite for a blessing. It won't hurt you because 동자 and 동녀 wants to play with you. Okay? They want to play. Little children. Okay. Oh no. Magical events. Take a bite. Take a good one. Oops. Take two. Oops. Okay. Take a candy. Having some health concerns. There you go. Take a candy. Just take one. Yes, not good to refuse. I'll just leave it by you. Okay? Take a candy. Take a little bite. Now, if any of you work with children, do any of you work with children? In any capacity? Get a little closer. We're gonna bless you. Children spirits, we all have an inner child. When you connect to the children spirits, it's good for our creativity. Okay, that's what I was talking about, opening our hearts. So we're gonna jump with the playfulness of children this time, okay? Can you tell me about you? The children really like you.
Oh, really?
They really do. You have a very open heart. Do you work with children?
I have a niece.
You have a niece that you like or love?
Yeah, I like her, yeah. I
Yes.
like her enough.
Okay, children generally like you.
That's good.
Animals too, probably. Because when you have an open heart, your heart is so pure. Are you a student?
Yes.
What do you study?
Political science.
What's your name?
Kelly.
So, what brought you here, Kelly?
I was very interested to see
Mm-hmm. You're not,
ritual.
yeah, so how did you hear about it? You're not studying religion?
I'm in Professor Chen's class.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, you are studying. But yes, children love you. So in my language, you're 언니 to the children, of course. Are you Korean?
No, I'm Chinese.
You're Chinese. Okay,
Yeah.
they say 언니 or 누나. 누나 is when it's a little boy, older sister, and then a little girl calls you 언니. Go, oh, 언니, 언니, 언니. They love you. Okay, you already have them. They're like attached to you. So it means you have a very pure heart. Tell your parents, whatever they did a good job. But sometimes you get a little depressed. Okay, when you get a little depressed, you're gonna say, okay, children, come to me, help me. Okay, but you gotta be okay. You gotta be okay. You may be in the wrong major. Do not try to be what other people want you to be. It's not good. You have to be yourself, right? That's the only way. You can only be yourself. Talk to your advisor. You need to work with children. They're naturally gravitating towards you. You have gifts. Why throw away the gifts? You want to be a politician? Why? No offense. Let other people do that. That's not for you. Okay? Jump. Stop. Tell me stop. How did you come here?
Just to want to meet you.
You just wanted to meet me? Well, I think you wanted to meet the spirits. Okay? You have a deep practice.
No.
You do. In your own way. But you're hurting also. Okay? Do you pray in any shape or form?
I'm originally Catholic.
Okay? I love Catholicism. When I was a child, as a Protestant kid, I went with my friends who were Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, even better. I love the rituals. We do nothing in the Protestant church. I'm like, give me the rituals, okay? Let me kiss those icons, okay? But joking aside, okay, you need a little healing. I know that you don't want to talk about it, so I'll respect your privacy, but you will receive it. It doesn't matter which God. The universe doesn't care. These things, these are cultural symbols, but they're universal. Get away from that kind of reductionistic thinking. We don't need that. We're far better than that. So keep praying the way you pray, and they'll heal you. Okay. Mark, how in the world did you get picked by the spirits to do this thing today? What in the world were you thinking? Man, my 할아버지 likes you. You're Korean, right? 이놈! 공부 열심히 하라고 했지? 어디서? 노력을 해야지, 노력을. 하고 있어? What are you studying? Ooh, that was not me. Sometimes they just come out like that. History and medicine. 이놈 똑똑하구나. 그럼 이 학교를 다니니까 똑똑하지. 공부 열심히 해. Work at the medicine Buddha. Good. Good. You're Buddhist. Okay, good. You are working with the medicine Buddha. It's deep medicine. Study the Western medicine. Absolutely. We need Western medicine. Yes, but study Chinese medicine also. I see you doing that down the line when you're wiser. Okay? You gotta go prove yourself. Go get the MD. Do everything you can. Then you become a wiser healer by studying holistic medicine. Okay, it's in your bloodline. It is? It is. Okay, you tell me. I don't know your bloodline. But there's healers in your line. Your hands, okay? So good. Keep playing the gong. Get blessed. I'm going to wear the grandfather outfit in a little bit. We'll give extra dose so you can study hard, okay? Keep going. Thank you. And Greg, I didn't say enough about Greg. He's been playing with me almost a year now. He's of Japanese and Latino heritage, correct? He came to me. We hope to work together on Korean-Japan relations through our work together. So stay tuned. We're organizing something. He's a special soul. And his dear partner is here today, Maggie, right there behind you. Thank you for bringing him into my life. Yeah, thank you. Okay, one last time, and I go to the grandpa. Yeah. Do you go to Korea often? You do? Do you ever visit the mountains? You need to familiarize yourself with this goddess. This goddess is a mountain spirit. In Korean depictions, most of the mountain spirits are men. She came to me when I did my ceremony in Bosnia and put snow, beautiful snow, all over the area during the ceremony and stopped after we stopped the ceremony. And then I went to the store. They have shaman stores in Korea. All your shaman needs are met in one store, like the Costco of shamans. Okay? And it's all plastic. That's the horrible thing about these instruments. They're not organic or cotton or linen. Okay, so don't burn these. It'll smell horrible. Anyway, I digress. When you go, she wants to meet you. You're gonna work with her. You have tiger energy. Wow, you're powerful, lady. Powerful, very powerful, very powerful. Do you pray? Do you meditate? You've done this many times. You're so powerful. Are you a mentor to young kids? Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. You're a powerful priestess. Multiple lives of being a priestess. You know how to do this. Okay? Thank you for your work. And Sanshin Harmony, that's who you want to meet. Email me, I'll give you resources, please. Okay, Sanshin Harmony, she wants to meet you. Okay, we'll receive her blessing. Okay, Hansu, do not worry, I'm on time. Do not worry, that's the human me speaking. I'm still here. One more spirit. 할아버지, grandfathers. What we're going to do is all these grandfathers help us cut the negativity in your ancestral lines. We all have gunk to clear out. Get ready to get in the muck and clean together. It'll be your lifetime's job to do this work. Your children and grandchildren will thank you. And yourself, you will have a better life. You just have to open up to it. So, what we're gonna do is you may sit for this portion, and people in the circle, you can wrap yourself all the way around within this circle of the fabric. So sit inside the fabric as much as you can. And I'm gonna come around and cut all the negativity. Slightly more serious swords that I obtained this last year. The other ones were just not so serious. Wasn't sure if it was gonna be scaring off any evil. So slightly more serious that can be hurtful if you come in contact. So I will not close my eyes for this one. I'll come around and call the ancestral lines, and you can just leave it. We're almost done. Okay? And I want you to focus on all the trauma that exists within your family lines. Ones that you know about, okay? Ones that you don't know, you just trust. And then we will end the ceremony with this clearing. Got it? Okay, one more time. I know you're doing your best. I know, okay? Keep it up. Grandpa likes you. Keep up your studies. Keep up your studies. Very nice energy. Very nice energy. You have good energy. Okay, get up. One last time, okay? Now we're gonna sit again, and somebody dropped like a pendant or something. Thank you for being in this space with me. I hope you had a sampling of a ceremony, what it could be. This is just a little sample, okay? But this can happen in your life. Keep praying about it. Your ancestors will bring you into the circles that you need to be a part of. I can't say it any other way than that. Believe in the magic of synchronicity. If you open up, the right people will show up. Heck, open a shamanic group on campus and do ceremonies. I'll come back anytime. Okay? Really. But you need to do this. It's good for you. Even if you don't believe all the magic, it's still good for you to work it out of your body and to laugh together, cry together, to be recognized and seen by each other. But if you believe in it, oh, the things you will experience, right? It's endless. All of you are gifted, wonderful people. Thank you for sharing space with me. So close your eyes for 1 minute. Comfortably sit. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Settle into your seats. Close your eyes. You've made contact with the ancestors that we met in the cave. Now it is your job to go out and work hard in whatever place that the heavens have placed you. That is the burden and the gift of being a human being, to accept where you were placed so that you can bring healing and light in each corner of this place, because we do need healing more than ever. Yes, we're more sophisticated than ever. However, we're also very ill in other manners. So take a deep breath in, breathe out. 2 more times. Deep breath in, deep breath out. 1 last deep breath in, and release all your worries. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please then maybe deliver